Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Alisha Costanzo and I'm reading. And I started with Circe. I was having a rough go in the first hour or so of my audiobook, hour and a half. I figured I needed to get into it. I started to get into it. People are cruel to Circe. That's pretty much a consistent theme throughout the book. And I think I like it right now. I'm about 2/3 of the way through the book now. And there's of course some people I like, some things that she did that I liked. Spoiler, did get past the rape scene and found her vindicated when she started turning other sailors into swine. I don't know if that's real in her myth or not. I looked it up, I couldn't find it. I'm not familiar enough with most myths, I think, to enjoy this as much as I could. I'm still enjoying it though. So there's my reader update so far. So I'm about 71% of the way through Circe, and I appreciate quite a bit of it, but I think if it wasn't an audiobook, I'd have put it down and not picked it back up. And that's more of my reading style than it is a testament to the book. I often find that prideful, greedy, god-type stories that have too much of the gods and narrow-minded thinking pisses me off, which means that she's pretty good at writing those characters. I just don't want to read about them, so. Anyways, I will finish it because it's an audiobook, and at this point, I want to know how it ends, so, yeah. Hello everybody. I started reading Gemma James' Aries from the Zodiac series, Zodiac Queen, Zodiac. I'm terrible at this. I should really look at things before I start talking to you guys, but I don't see it changing anytime soon, so sorry about that. Anyways, if you didn't know, this is the inspiration to the Camp NaNoWriMo story that I worked on last month. And that is pretty much just an erotica series where she put a young queen who was contracted by her uncle, signed her over to 12 men who are very sexually dominant, and women have no rights in the society. Now this is not something, the second part is not something that I really knew. I didn't know that it was going to be a more subdom, control, power issue, feminist leanings type of erotic story, which is an interesting combination to begin with. Although, if I'm being honest, mine's kind of feminist in a very different opposite way. You can tell I am not submissive at all because my women are batshit crazy, just like I am, and very much in control of as much of their lives as they can be in control of while chaos ensues around them. But whereas she is kind of weak and not, so the main character is a little bit weak, is a lot of bit defiant, but at the same time her circumstances are far different. And I found myself gritting my teeth in the first 2 chapters, and I can see, now that I understand what the story is about, I think I can get into it a little bit more. I mean, I'm already like 37% of the way through and I'm on chapter 4. It's a very, very short read, which is, again, what I modeled my stories after. But now that I understand a little bit more of the tone, I think I will like it better. Initially, because I had my story on my mind and the way that I was processing this type of situation so much nicer, which not all of them are going to be quite so nice, but this one is so much nicer. It's so much more adult and mature in the way that the characters are treating each other, rather than simply trying to own each other and dominate each other's property as sexual property, and pretty much it seems like going to be raping this girl. Very skewed consent type story, which honestly, like, rape and stories and one like that doesn't bother me too much, coming from somebody who's dealt with assault on more than one occasion. It doesn't typically bother me in a story as long as I understand the tone of it, and I understand that it's coming, and I understand that it's fiction. Those things are pretty easy for me to get past. I mean, I've had a rape scene in one of my books because it was necessary to the plot, and that's when it doesn't bother me. When it's unnecessary and overboard, it bothers me. If that makes any fucking sense whatsoever. Who knows, why am I... It's got rapey tones to it, Aries does, at least to start with. I think it's going to get better, maybe. I'll let you know. Those are my initial thoughts on Aries by Gemma Jane. I really liked her first one. There was a lot of slow tension, and this is very much not that slow tension, although I do see parts of it being drawn out in a similar fashion, but very dark BDSM erotica rather than light, fluffy, trashy stuff. Yeah. I hope that makes some sort of sense to everybody, because I started reading it this morning, so my thoughts aren't quite, I'm still trying to unpack my reaction to the story. But yeah, that's where I am right now, and I am continuing, so that's an ebook, so I did continue reading Circe while I was cooking earlier, and got past the point where I was like, ugh, kids. A terrible reaction. But if you didn't know, I don't have any of my own kids. The boy is my stepson, and I have a stepdaughter. I've never birthed any of my own kids, and I think that skews my reaction to things that have to do with kids in stories. Now, the funny thing is that my main character in my current book that I'm writing just got pregnant. So I'm going to have a lot of kid stuff. Like, kid stuff in general doesn't bother me, but when Circe's son is an absolute monster, and then she's beating herself up over trying to get some sort of peace of mind because he's absolutely destroying her house while she's trying to save him. I think it's because I'm not a mom that I do not understand how people can put up with that. I can't. I'd have put a solve on him long before she did and then not beat myself up over it. It's an absolutely irrational reaction to kids, and I know that. I just didn't. It wasn't entertaining to me to read this bit. I didn't care about it. I didn't care about the boy. I still don't care about the boy, unfortunately, now that he's an adult too, because he's still acting like a child. And I do like his brother, though. His older brother, Odysseus' original son. I do like him because he's harder, he's colder, and he is more brash and logical. Honest. Blunt. There we go. Blunt's the word I was looking for that whole time. And I do like him. So I keep going back and forth between this enjoying her story and not enjoying her story. I enjoy the parts of the story that are not shown in mythology, like her sitting and waiting at the island while her son goes to meet his father. And of course, that's not the part shown. The part shown usually is the son meeting the father. But seeing the other part of that was more entertaining for me. So those bits are entertaining, but the actual mythology on point parts are not entertaining to me because mythological creatures like gods and goddesses really piss me off too. The pride, the greed, the absolute lack of empathy. I'm thinking myth and legends that are so super close to the original are not my thing, but things based on mythology and legends can be my thing. Yeah. Alright, I'm not done with the book yet. I'll let you know how I feel when I actually get done with it, like tomorrow. Yeah, I should be done with it by tomorrow. Okay, alright, bye. Hello, my people. So I finished Circe this morning, as I imagined I was going to, and I liked the ending a lot more, even though it didn't seem to follow the actual mythology. But I'll try not to spoil too much of the ending. I liked the tone of the ending much more when, the empowerment actually happened. And I understand, once again, why all the things happened that happened in the story. And I'm just realizing that something that's too literary leaned is, again, not my forte. However, when I start to look at it like an academic, I can appreciate quite a bit more of it. And a lot of people always tell me, why do you have to analyze everything so deeply? Well, because that's the only way I can enjoy experiencing it. So that is what I did towards the end, is I started to look at it more as if I was reading this for school or as if I was going to teach it. And that allowed me to appreciate the callousness of the gods, which is something that I really dislike having to deal with in a lot of straight mythology. And straight mythology, rewrites or reimaginings of mythology when they follow it too closely and don't make it their own enough, I guess. She did make it her own quite a bit. I don't want to say that she didn't. And she's honestly a brilliant writer. I enjoyed the way she wrote things. She obviously made me feel the way I should have felt with these characters. I was just frustrated a lot of the time because I'm like, yep, gods acting like gods again. Woo. I would have rather had focused on the parts that did not include the gods, because those were the more interesting parts, or the ones where she was in that in-between space in the story that didn't have anything written about it yet. Overall, I'm glad I got through it and I enjoyed it because I did not know her story. I did not know a lot of the stories included in it. I have read both the epic poems, the Odyssey and the Iliad, in school, although the Odyssey I was sick during, so I don't remember a lot of it. I remember enough of it to get what was going on in that story and to have the background, and of course Achilles' story as well, the story of Troy and whatnot. I had all of that, but I didn't have a lot of the other bits in it. I did know about the Minotaur, the inclusion of all of the myths was really fascinating to see. There were just parts that frustrated the shit out of me that I could have done without, and I honestly don't think were quite necessary. But I mean, that's probably going to be true in a lot of things for me. So, all right, those are my thoughts. I'm leaning 3.54. I haven't decided yet. I don't want to be just. I'm scared of how audiobooks are shaping the way that I rate things. Just because it's easier to read an audiobook and I am not likely to put it down while I'm in the middle of cooking. It keeps me going and something that I would have put down otherwise. So I'm not sure how to rate audiobooks currently. And the stories that I struggle with. I'm thinking 3.5. But her writing deserves a 4. Like, I don't know. Thoughts? I'll figure it out. I'll let you know in my wrap up. But I finished Cersei, which means that I got my cat. In my medievalathon, I got my cat. Yes. So I have started reading Blue Lily Lily Blue, Maggie Stiefvater. I don't know how to say her name, and yes. Anyways, this is book 3 of the Raven Cycle series, and I'm reading it for DESERTATHON for my flower on the cover. And I don't really have any comments other than I'm enjoying it. This is the kind of book where I don't really have to think about enjoying it. It's just well done enough that I enjoy it. So, props, book 3, continuing to be awesome. Looking forward to seeing what happens. I have my predictions for the end of the series, and I don't think I'm going to find out what happens until book 4. So, I'm just going to keep reading. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to finish it really, really soon. So, now, Lily and Gansey are cute, kind of frustrating. So, I am reading Lily Blue Lily Blue. I don't remember what order that comes in. However, pretty excited about the book. I did just reach a death and it made me sad. Not why I stopped in here though. I'm almost done with the book. I will actually give you my thoughts on it tomorrow when I finish it because I got an hour left. Love it. It's a continuation of the same series that I'm still in love with, and she does a good job and all good things. What I find funny is that every time I read one of her books in the Raven Cycle, one of Holly Black's books pops up as available for me. So I was waiting 7 weeks for The Queen of Nothing, down to 6, down to 4, and then all of a sudden I start reading this book and guess what pops up from my holds? So it's not on my TBR for the month, but I'm going to have to deviate and fit it in there because I can't not read it right now, tomorrow, starting when this book is over. Which makes me feel super bad because I feel like you should wait a little bit of time to process and stuff, or at least I need that to process and stuff, and I'm not giving Miss Stiefvater her due, but I can't not read it. So, yep, alright. That's all I wanted to say. I'll see you guys later. Okay, so let's chat for a second. Sorry that my fan is on in the background, but it's hot as balls in Oklahoma. So, yeah. I finished Blue Lily Lily Blue. Blue Lily Lily Blue by Maggie. Y'all. From the Raven Cycle. Loved it. Knew I was gonna love it. Still love Ronan. A part where she's like, you're not so much of a... Bruce tells him, you're not so much of a shithead. And he goes, no, I really am. I fucking love him. Love the attitude. I tend to have... I like a bad boy. And I like the smart, sweet kid. I got both in my husband. So, he reminds me of my husband. He's adorable. He's totally gonna be my fan fiction this month for my challenge. But that's a whole nother video. And of course I rated it 5 stars. While I was finishing it, of course, Queen of Nothing came up. So I have to start that today, even though it's not on my TBR. It's just how that's gonna be, and maybe I'll finish it by tomorrow or the day after, because that's typical. It only takes me 2 days to get through a Holly Black novel on audio. So far, at least this series. And it's funny because I actually did start it earlier because I finished Blue Lily Lily Blue while shopping at the store this morning, and I tried to start Queen of Nothing in line afterwards, and I couldn't do it. I needed to process the book before at least a little bit, because I know they're both going to be such great reads that I needed at least a little bit of a pause. And of course I came home and I fell asleep, because I do every time I go shopping now. It's so much adrenaline, and I had to stop at like 6 places. So I don't usually have this, but I'm having I don't want to finish the series because I don't want it to be over, but I want to know what happens. I am going to get into it tonight, but I do feel that anxious anticipation currently for this book and the ending. Now, I put book 4 of the Raven Cycle on hold, so that should be here. It says 4 weeks, it'll probably be here in 3 or 2, because that seems to be the trend with my library. in these books. I am also still reading Aries by Gemma James. I have to currently read it one chapter at a time and then put it down because it's just a bit much for me. I don't know if I will keep reading it, like the series, or not. I'm going to finish this one, but I don't know if I'm going to keep reading that. I liked her other stuff. Like, I liked another series of hers that I want to finish, although I did have issues with that for a different reason. And I don't know how I feel, really. I keep flopping back and forth because some parts are pretty good and some parts, but I'm like, this is kind of rapey. And I'm not looking forward to how much more of that there's going to be in the rest of the series. But it is my book for Medievalathon for under 300 pages, so I'm going to keep going. I'm 71% of the way through. Like, this is a 20,000 word novel. Novelette? I think that's a novelette. And yeah. Oh, and Blue Lily Lily Blue also got me something pointy on the cover, so I now have a sword. I have a cat and a sword. I'm naked, but I have a cat and a sword. Alright, I think I'm going to go make some popcorn shrimp and read. It's going to take me a while to paint this, so I'm going to get a whole big chunk of that book done. At least an hour and a half, maybe 2, because that's how long it's going to take me to make this food, which is pretty typical, hour and a half for food. So that's what happens when you make every single thing from scratch. Good thing I like to cook most of the time. Alright, I'm going to go do it.
From all across the nation, it is indeed historic for us and an important night of voting, because tomorrow we've got a dramatic...
Okay, so reading update. I did not get as far in The Queen of Nothing as I thought I was going to because my apron is in the wash and I don't have a pocket to put my phone in to listen at the same time, so I've been watching Bones instead. However, I did get to start it while I was going through the stamps that we have in the back room, which is part of my house cleaning project, and I got 4 chapters in and I was surprised at how easily I just fell into it. I didn't even realize that I'd gone 4 chapters already. I still hate Taryn. I still really hate both of Jude's sisters. Oh my god, fucking hate them. Regardless, I don't think I'm supposed to really like them, so she's doing a good job. And I'm excited to see her sneak back in to Fairy, which, you know, no spoilers because I'm only on chapter 4. What I have also been reading in the meantime has been one of my prompts for DESERTATHON, and that is the Stoker and Holmes series. Which one is this one? This is book 3, The Chess Queen Enigma. And I'm more than halfway through it already, which is really odd because I only started it yesterday. Day before yesterday I was 7% in, and then yesterday I got up to 50. I'm a little bit past 50 now because I started reading this morning before I go grade finals. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I know the story, I know the characters. I really like the variances that happen between the characters. And of course it's, you know, the niece of Sherlock Holmes and the little sister of Bram Stoker. There's a lot of intricacies that I like there. It's steampunk, so it's of course Victorian England. There's a lot of steampunky things. There's even a little bit of time travel from the first one, and it's a good, and there's lots of love triangle square things going on throughout, so I enjoy it. I do find it's usually relatively easy to read, which is why I've gotten so far so quickly, but I do have a pet peeve, which is spelling out an accent in dialogue. Makes it very hard to read it. I don't want to have to stop and read every individual letter in order to understand what somebody's saying. You can imply accent different ways. I'm pet peeve. Has me gurful. But otherwise, I enjoy the story. I can forgive much of the other issues that I generally have with books. Sulsenberry dialogue tags, holy shit. But in general, I'm pretty into it. There's a bit of social commentary in it that I find interesting and funny. A little bit heavy-handed, like it's very... I see what she's doing most of the time, but I'm still enjoying the story. So, okay, I'm gonna go back to doing other stuff. Oh, and I made a cake, which is half gone already. It's only a single layer cake, you know, single 8-inch cake. Between the 3 of us, it'll probably be gone today. Oh, it was yummy. Anyways, I'm gonna go grade finals so that I can read. Yeah. Hey guys, so quick book update. I am about 1/3 of the way through The Queen of Nothing, and I'm already in love with it, of course. Love the secrets already traveling, so spoiler if you don't want to know. Go ahead like a minute or so. But when Carden sees Jude and brings her back to the chambers, even though she's pretending to be her sister, and he says, "I've written to you, but I haven't gotten anything back," I was just like, yes! I'm glad it was all a trick for something positive, even though she didn't grasp onto it right away. I still do not like any of Jude's family. I don't like Taryn. I don't like Vivi. I definitely don't like stepmom and stepdad. I don't like any of them. I just want her to be with Carden. That's where I am right now. On the other hand, I am about 70 or 80% of the way through the Chess Queen Enigma, and still a few predictable things. One thing I didn't get until right before it happened, and I was like, oh, is this true? And then it happened. I was like, oh, fuck. I didn't, like, I thought maybe misdirection, but pretty awesome plotting there. Yeah. Alright, well, I just finished 2 books, both ebooks. One was my library book, which was Colleen Gleason's The Chess Queen Enigma, and I have an overall prediction of who might be the Ankh other than what she keeps stating. I don't know if her stating this is a red herring, since her protagonists have been duped a couple times significantly, so I also don't know if it's just my jealousy for Evelyn on her part. Now, this is a book 3, so I don't want to give too many darn spoilers, but I'm very happy with the book as it is. I'm very interested that the two triangles that both the girls were in now. Triangles as in they had feels, very obviously attractions for 2 boys each. Both of them were dispatched in this book, or one from each girl, leaving what I would call the right choice left over for them to explore, and one does at the end of book 3, and one doesn't, because the end of book 3 is her one going, whereas Evelyn lost hers mid-book, so the timeline makes more sense for her to have that moment. I enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna have to read the next book, or the next 2 books, later this year maybe. I'm averaging 1 a year. I don't know if there's a 6th book, but I know there's 5. I looked up if there was a 6th book, and I didn't see anything, but it takes like 2 years between a book, so choices. Wait longer for the newest edition after catching up, or continue on my 1 year, and then I would still have just that year if there's a 6th one. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you think I should do. I don't know. The other book I finished was Aries by Gemma Janes, and I'm not sure how she did it, but by the end of it, I am curious to know what happens in the next one. I'm still very gritty, put off by it, and I know I'm going to be put off by at least the beginning, at least the first half of the next one, if I do read it. So I'm not going to make that decision right now if I happen to be in that kind of mood, I guess, for something like that, which, to be fair, occasionally, ooh, my blanket's like hanging out. Occasionally, I am in the mood for something grittier and more taboo. So I can't like deny that or lie and say that I would never pick up the next one because of my reaction. I mean, pretty sure the reaction is supposed to be what it is because it is a very taboo subject, and so we are supposed to war with sexualizing it and what BDSM means and what consent means, and it's signs of a good writer. She makes me question my thoughts on it, so I have to give her credit for that and the possibility that I might read the next one. I really don't know how to rate this book because I both enjoyed and hated the experience of reading it at the same time, and so I don't really know how to quantify my reaction. I'd probably give it a 3 because it's right in the middle of me hating and loving it, and it makes the most sense analytically. I don't know. Oh, I didn't rate Gleason's. Oh, what would I rate it? Probably a 4.5. Very on par with the Finishing School series, which is also steampunk, which of course means that there's British Victorian society things in both, and there's mechanisms in both, and there's feminism and racism stuff in both, and classism in both, and they're both mystery thriller type of things, so they both have very similar feels for setting and character and plot and all those things. Something Gleason does that I don't like is the spelling out of accents, but it's not a deal breaker, obviously. It just makes me work harder. I did more often know what she was doing than I did with the other, but she got me at the end, so Gleason got me at the end. So did Carragher. So like they're both pretty good series. I would equate them quite readily together, although Gleason's is more very strictly Stoker and Holmes because there's a lot of canon stuff that is applied to hers, whereas Gallagher does not have to abide by those and can kind of make up her own thing. Which I'm pretty interested that vampires and werewolves are assets in Carragher's world, whereas they are not in Gleason's world. See, this is me liking things that are very similar, but have little bits of tweaks amongst them, and I like to notice the differences between them. And I really need to read both Dracula and Sherlock Holmes. I started Dracula when I was in high school, but it's another one of those cases where I don't want to read what is assigned to me. And then I tried again, along with Frankenstein, and there's just so much telling. I even have an annotated version of Dracula because, vampires. You would think I would be on this shit. And no, I don't think I like it, so I keep not reading it. Eventually I'm going to have to make myself read it with the annotation so I actually understand what's going on. History is not my thing, so there's a lot of things I'm sure I'm missing that it will explain to me. I've never tried Sherlock Holmes. I have watched a lot of Sherlock Holmes things. I've watched Sherlock Elementary, and the movie I think was also Sherlock. I've seen a lot of it. I enjoy this type of story. I think I would fare better with it if I had it on audiobook, so I'm gonna look for it. Yeah. And if I can, I'll give it a try for ebook. Maybe that will be my last slot in my books to read by the end of 2020. One more slot open for that book. Well, here are my thoughts. I don't know. I'm just reading. Oh, which this means, okay, Aries, I got an outfit for reading Aries, book under 300 pages, and I got 2 of my prompts for the Desertathon. It always sounds like I'm saying dessert. Desertathon, which was red on the cover and had monsters in it. So I got those 2. I'm going to be starting Land of Dust later today. Still reading Queen of Nothing. I wonder if I could fit that into any of my prompts for Medievalathon. Did I use the Chess Queen Enigma for a prompt for Medievalathon? If I did, I'll put it up here. If not, I'll put something silly. I don't know. I'm going to go grade finals now because I was reading instead of working. So I've started Lands of Dust, and already I'm pretty sure I'm going to DNF it. But I'll give it another few chapters before I actually make the decision. And I'll explain why when I get there. But a lot of amateur writer no-nos, at least for my taste. This might be because I think this is another epic fantasy. We will see. I didn't even get through chapter 2 before I DNF'd Lands of Dust. Bad writing, no connection, info dumping in the dialogue, head hopping with no good reason for head hopping, no real internalization that mattered. Couldn't even spell all right correctly. Suddenly telling words, it was a mess. But now it's off my TBR. I know I don't like it. It was something I used for 2 of my prompts though. So for Desertathon, at least, I found something different, which I have on my computer over here, which is Rebel of the Sands by Elowen Hamilton. And it's definitely got a warm word in it. And desert vibes. It's definitely in the desert. So I've been through 1 chapter. I like the writing a lot better. So this is going to be my new Desertathon prompt to wrap up the readathon. I don't know if I can make it match my Medievalathon, but I'll let you know in the next clip. So the prompt is orange on the cover. I think that's fitting. So, yep, this is my replacement book for both readathons. Hey guys, so I think I mentioned that I changed my last book for my Desertathon prompts for the warm word in the title and the desert vibe. And that was, what did I change that to? I just looked at it. The Lands of the Sand, I think is what it's called. Eowyn Hamilton. Should really look at those things, but I didn't. I did, and then I forgot, really, in like 2.5 seconds because I just woke up. However, I'm about 35% of the way through since it's on my e-reader, about 115 pages, and it has a lot of the same tropes as Children of Blood and Stone, and I like it quite a bit. I like the main character. She's had a tragic past. She's running away from a terrible future. And of course she's got the help of an outlaw who she likes. And of course they just had their kiss scene, which I predicted. And her cousin's chasing her with the commander of the army who wants to capture them both on a train. And there's magic and these strange creatures that only females can change into physical form that live in the sand. And it's, of course, there's royalty things going on. Instead of 12 of the Sultan's sons had to fight each other for rule, and of course there was cheating and lots of debt, like the sons were killing each other, and it's interesting. I'm into it. I have, like, actually feel something towards the characters. The writing's pretty good, so I'm glad of my new choice. And I really like that this readathon prompt had me read this, because I wouldn't have probably read this on my own. I went searching for desert book, and this was one that popped up on a list, and it looked interesting, and I read the first chapter, and I liked the writing. Whereas I read the other first chapter of that other book that I've had for a while. At least I figured out that I'm never going to read it because it wasn't good. And it didn't get any better the more I tried to give it a chance. So, 2 positives out of this, and I'm excited. I might not, even though Desertathon ends today, I might not finish it today because I don't think I could read 2/3 of a book today and grade and do all of my chores and my cooking and those other things. So I'm going to try to finish it up in the next few days and still count it, maybe. We'll see. I'm still excited about how it got me to read this book, and I'm going to finish it because I like it. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Now I should actually go make coffee. It's that early. I haven't even made coffee yet. So I don't have a full reaction, but I just finished The Queen of Nothing, and I'm happy. Good series. I'm sad that it's over, but I'm happy where I left. Where it left off, where I left the world, I'm happy. I'll give my full thoughts later, but I just wanted to document that. Yeah. So good. So good. I always have the craziest hair. I usually keep it up. Alright guys, so I've had a crazy week reading. I finished Rebel of the Sands last night, so I actually got all 5 prompts for the Desertathon, which I didn't think I was going to do in the week. And then on top of that, I read another book, which was The Queen of Nothing. So total 4 books in a week. Like, what? Okay, so let me try to talk a little bit about the 2 books that I just finished that I haven't really talked about. So Rebel of the Sands is I want to say it's a fantasy adventure. I don't know if this would be considered high fantasy or not. There was world building that was needed, a lot of creatures and people with abilities, and genie type of the djinn. We had warring factions, we had a rebel prince, we had, of course, the evil monarchy and the armies. We had a lot of desert, a lot of heat, a lot of sand, a lot of sexism. This was very much a alright, Alisha, you can do this. So the culture is a poor culture, a mining culture. They have a lot of guns. They mine metal. They make guns. They make bullets. That's this little city's job. And it is very it is a very Sharia law type of culture. If a woman has sex out of wedlock, you either marry your rapist or the person you had sex with most of the time, rapist, or you're stoned to death or you're hanged. Women are property. The uncle straight away wants to marry this girl whose mother was hanged for killing her father, who was an abusive asshole. A lot of characters have similar stories about women being stoned to death or hanged for being taken advantage of, unless of course it suited the people who would otherwise stone or hang them. And that plays a major role in a lot of the tension that happens, especially for the main character, who is a 16-year-old female whose mother died for this reason, who everybody seems to want to own. She also has special eyes, which comes into play for a big reveal towards the end. I felt a lot of it with the main character. There are a few things that I would have done differently, but it's not my book, so I can't really complain about the things that happened as they did. I really enjoyed it. Like, I rated it 4.5. Not quite. There was just a couple of like word choice or really small things that kept it from being a 5 that I can't even think of right now. Good book. Very definitely desert vibe. Very definitely got my warm word. I guess sands. I always think warm when I think sands, so that's my connection there. I also got the orange on the cover for the Medievalathon, so I am now a princess. And I think that means I have a fox. I have a fox, which is awesome. What does the fox say? And then, of course, I read, as you have seen just before this, I finished reading The Queen of Nothing, and Spoiler, happy ending. Enjoyed the fact that it was a happy ending. I was pretty sure it was going to be one because it is YA. Not that I don't enjoy, I love being devastated by YA. When I think there's going to be a happy ending and you devastate me, I like that too. I enjoyed the fact that it was I wanted a happy ending for these guys. It made me pretty excited that they got one. And spoiler, since it is the third in the series, I don't have a whole lot to say about it that I really want to share, but it is definitely... I just wrote a blog post about this. Poetic justice. Karma comes to those who deserve. They get what they deserve. So I'm pretty, yeah. I rated it 5. I think it was a great series altogether. All the pieces fit really well. All the characters and the tensions were just fast, and kept me pacing and trying to breathe and not sleeping. So Holly Black is a master. I just started reading a new one of her books, but that's for next week's vlog. So I'm gonna close it out here, guys. I read 4 books this week. I read 5 books this week. 3 for DESERTATHON. Thank you again, Esme, for hosting that. It was a lot of fun to find something out of my comfort zone, like the Rebel of the Sands, and fitting it into the prompts. That was a lot of fun for me. I got to read a third in a series that I'd already started. Two third books in a series that I already started, and got something new. So definitely success. I find this successful. I also got 4 prompts for Medievalathon, which is an all-month thing. I'll do a wrap-up at the end of the month with that. And it's a good time. Alright, guys. I'm gonna go now. But thanks for showing up. And let me know if you do any readathons, if you're interested in readathon announcements or prompts, or which ones your favorites are, what time of the year do they happen. Tell me about them in the comments below. I'd love to join one if you're hosting one. And yeah, see you guys later.